Hey guys, J Hoy here. Before this one gets started, I just want to say thank you guys for all the support, right? We've been checking out the stats and seeing that you guys are really enjoying these last, month or two worth of videos, which has also brought on more subscribers. So I tell you guys, every single video, if you haven't yet, or if you're brand new here, the vast majority of you guys are not subscribed. So make sure to go down below, hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload, and don't forget, you can always change your mind later. What's on, guys? J Hoy back with you today. Welcome back to Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. We got some control on standoff and we end up absolutely frying in this one, and it's a good gameplay, so I hope you guys do enjoy that in the background as today. Now this was a little while ago now, maybe like a week or so, but it was really interesting post from Intel Call of Duty. And they said, imagine a Call of Duty World Cup. Who's your top 5 teams? Now, here's the problem with this. Now, usually, if you have a World Cup or even like the Olympics, there's a lot of teams that can compete. But in this case, with probably a good 90%, maybe 80 to 90% of all players being from North America, that doesn't really help out. So he kind of made some rules. I don't know who this exactly is behind the account, but it says Team USA had to be nerfed, aka FaZe, right? They're the best team in the game, no question right now. And then they said they had to be nerfed, so I made a rule that you can only have 2 CDL teammates that can start together. So only 2 per team. And he ends up having another split here, which he also says, I also split the team into East and West, but gave Dallas and Minnesota to the West to semi-balance it. So, if you have an Olympics or a World Cup or something, obviously you want the best, in this case, best 4 players on your team, which would be FaZe, right? And even if you just had 1 or 2 players from FaZe, you still have a really good team. You have a lot of really notable players that you'd want on your team, right? But he also says Team Mexico is a massive reach. They're all part Mexican at minimum. So we'll get into the teams here. So he has the first one as USA East. This would be Simp, BZ, Awakening, and Clayster. Now this one you have 2 from FaZe, 1 from Florida, 1 from New York. And actually, I feel, given everyone's recent form, I feel like this would actually be a very good team. And I would argue that this might be the winner of all of these teams. Like, that's for sure. And then the second USA team is USA West, which would have Shotzi, Standy, Kenny, and Octane. And then there's also, I guess, a couple of bench players here. For USA East, it was Celium and Arcides, but they can't play in this hypothetical rule set just because of Simp and Abizi. And then you also have Scump there. You could also add Formal in there if you really wanted to, just to add a couple of Optic guys. But then over on USA West, you have Slasher, Draza, and Vivid. Slasher and Draza can't play because of Kenny. And I guess there's not really a second 100 Thieves guy there. But it's good though, right? I mean, the USA looks really dominant. So who would even give them, a run for their money? Well, you always have Canada, right? This is probably the second strongest, non-NA team that we have, arguably. So you'd have Asim, Illy, Gunless, and Dashy. This team, I mean, Dashy and Gunless are, very disgusting in their own right. Asim's been frying recently on New York Subliners, and then Illy, I don't know if I'd put him there, but also I don't know if you'd have anyone better to put there. But then backups, or I guess substitutes, would be Diamond Con, Royalty, and Exotic. I mean, if Karma was still playing, ooh, it would be a pretty solid team. He's also an AR, and, most of that list is ARs, I believe. So, I don't know what the official, Canada roster would be, but I don't know if that team could compete with likes of USA East. I mean, that team's just, you know, super dominant. But let's keep going down the left side here. We have Mexico, and as he says, they're all part Mexican apparently. So you'd have Attach, Skies, Polex, and Aqua. I mean, that team could be kind of like an underdog team, honestly. I mean, Attach, Skies, I don't know who'd run the second sub, maybe Polex, and then Skies and Aqua as your ARs if you're going for like a 2-2 split. So, I mean, that could be a decent team. It could probably give Canada a run for their money, you know, in the second or even like third place spots. Then you have France, who would be Hydra, Whalers, Breezy, and Deepa, I'm not sure. That could be a decent squad. I mean, I don't know too much about everyone else with the exception of Hydra. But again, you know, if Hydra is fine, you know, who knows what that team could be. And Spain, right? Big name Spain, right? If you remember back to the Heretics days when they came in and made the Pro League and then kind of got smoked after that. But you have Metals, Journey, Lucky, and Super with Eric Boom, Yako, and Sukri. I think those are the names. I probably butchered those ones, so sorry. But that could be, you know, a potential decent team, right? If you just have to have the passion and the drive behind these guys, they always brought it. So could be a upset team. I mean, arguably, well, how many teams do we have here? We have 9 teams, it looks like, with 2 USA teams. They could probably make a top 4 appearance, you know, depending on, you know, how some of these teams played. But yeah, Spain could be a good team. We already talked on the USA West team, so let's go down to England, where we have Bance, Afro, Scraps, and Insight. This could be another team that is pretty decent. Then you have Alex, Zed, and Zero as your substitutes. I'm surprised Wuskin's not in there, but I guess he's not even really like playing this year, so who knows what's going on with him. But that could be another interesting team that could make a run. Then in Australia, we have Pred, Shocks, Luca, and Fighter. I'm pretty sure that was the old like Mind Freak team, or the not sure what the other big Australian team was. Oh, Tainted Minds, that's right. But then we have Crimsa, Zeppa, and a Man of Chicken. That's an interesting name. But Australia's always been a good team, but not really able to compete with the best. So that's why you literally see what, 1 player. Actually, he's not even a starter anymore. So, you know, Australia just can't really compete with, you know, the likes of the USA, Canada, and the UK. So I don't know how good that team would do, but we'll move down to Scotland. Have Cammy, Shawnee, Hockey, and I think that's Furious with Marky B, Quicker, and Jambo as substitutes. I mean, again, it's kind of like the France situation, where you have a, you know, like 1 good player, you have a couple that have, you know, made a little bit of noise here and there, but how good could that team be? I mean, I think they would do better than probably maybe Spain and maybe our next Japan team, but I don't know. I just feel like the USA would just be way too strong to even have a competitive tournament. But then down in the Japan side, we have Genjar, not sure. Let's go Zaxi, Inabu. Let's go with that. What is with these crazy names? Sedimento. Let's go with that. And then Sirius, NGT, and Lisa. And what's also interesting about the Japan team is apparently they have a pro league over in Japan, and Hitch from Optic was actually watching it. And their matches were kind of crazy, right? They played relatively similar, but they also, I don't know how to describe it. You'd have to just go watch it. But it was a very interesting experience to watch the Japanese. I don't know if it was a pro league or what, but it was very interesting to watch. But they kind of went crazy. But here's the teams, right? You have 9 teams here. Let's just say you take top 8 to the finals, right? Who are you picking? I'm picking USA West, USA East. So I'm picking USA East, USA West, Canada, England for sure. Then probably Mexico. How about this? Everybody but Japan. I mean, sorry, not sorry, but I just don't feel like they could compete with the top talent that we have in the Pro League, or even in North America. I mean, you have some good teams here. You have some good players that, you know, maybe individually are performing well, but, you know, especially with mixed teams, it's going to be hard, right? If you look at Toronto, that'd be a great team, but they're all from like different regions, so that doesn't really help, right? You have Bance from England, you have Cammy from Scotland, you have Insight from where I saw him on there. Okay, so Bance and Insight from Canada, Cammy from Scotland, and who's their other player that I'm forgetting? Kleenex. I think he's from like Denmark or something. So you couldn't really have another super team like FaZe that would really represent you. But here's the other thing. You have notable names like Scump, Formal, and you know, those veteran players, even like Crim6. Where do you put those guys? Because obviously, are you going for the best players now? Or are you going for notable names? You know, what exactly are you going for, you know, when you get into, you know, the Olympics or in a World Cup or into anything like that? And you'd have to, you know, obviously take a look at that. Obviously, very good players, you know, some of the most winningest players of all time. But then you also have the young, you know, superstars, Simp, Abizi, Awakening, and then obviously a veteran like Clayster. But, I mean, it's just, it'd be too hard to not pick USA. In this case, I'd probably pick USA East to absolutely come in and smoke everybody, right? If you couldn't have one individual team represent the whole nation, that's who you'd pick, right? And it's not close. Like, there's not another team here that I would convincingly say this team has a chance, right? I think Sip and Abizi would just run everything over. Awakening's been a really good flex all year. Clayster's been one of the best ARs all year. I just don't see how that team loses. I mean, you could probably make a case for some of these other teams. There may be some potential upsets, but I don't know. I just feel like Team USA East in this case would be wrong. But this is where I want to know. Who would you have on a World Cup team given that these rules would apply, right? You can't have more than 2 players from the same CDL team start on the roster. And then also if you wanted to split them up in East and West, or just kind of your best 4 players, and then you have a second USA team. I don't know what you'd call them, but let's just pick 2 USA teams. How would you split it up, right? You can't have more than 2 CDL teammates on the starting roster. And then, you know, what teams would you have, right? Leave that down in the comment section below. I think it'd be a clear-cut winner from the North America side, but who knows? Maybe you could come up with a better roster. But that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy, hit that like button down below if you haven't already, or if you're brand new here, make sure that subscribe button down there as well. Turn on those post notifications so you never miss an upload, and don't forget, you can always change your mind later. With all that being said, guys, we'll see you in the next one.